Some people want it, others are built for it. Most people will never know what it feels like to give everything, not a piece, not a fraction, everything. They stop when it hurts. They slow down when they're tired. They look for comfort, validation, shortcuts, but the few, the rare ones, they keep going when the body says no. They wake up when no one's watching. They put in the hours no one claps for, the effort no one sees. That's what it means to work harder than anybody. Life has one simple rule: you get what you earn, not what you want, not what you dream about. You earn it through hours nobody counts, through pain nobody understands, through discipline nobody applauds. Behind every great story there's a chapter no one reads: the early mornings, the quiet nights, the sacrifices made when nobody's cheering. I've seen it, people chasing goals with half a heart. They want the crown but not the weight. They talk about success, but their actions whisper otherwise. The world doesn't care how you feel, it only respects what you build. You can cry, you can doubt, you can fall, but if you keep showing up, if you keep fighting when everything inside you screams quit, one day the world will have no choice but to remember your name. Pain doesn't last, legacy does. Every time you skip the work, someone else is doing it. Every time you rest in comfort, someone else is sharpening their blade. Every time you say tomorrow, someone else says today. And when it's time to step into the arena, when the lights hit, when there's nowhere left to hide, that's when truth shows. You can't fake hard work. You can't cheat the grind. You can't lie to the mirror. That mirror remembers. It knows if you gave it everything or if you just pretended. Working harder than anybody isn't about outshining others. It's about outgrowing yourself. It's a war between who you are and who you could be, between comfort and greatness, between excuses and evolution. Most people lose that war not because they're weak, but because they stop when it gets hard. But a few don't, a few stay, a few keep moving, because when pain shows up, they don't run, they welcome it. They know pain isn't punishment. It's the price of becoming something greater. So when you hear the words "work harder than anybody," don't think of competition. Think of truth. Think of waking up with no one watching. Think of the sweat, the failure, the loneliness that forges steel out of your soul. Because that's what this world respects: consistency, discipline, relentless effort. Anyone can talk, few can endure. And when you look back years from now, when the noise fades and all that's left is your reflection, you'll realize something powerful. It was never about talent, never about luck, never about chance. It was about who stayed in the fight the longest. Every day you're given two choices: the path of comfort or the path of challenge. One keeps you the same, the other breaks you, rebuilds you, and makes you unstoppable. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be the smartest. You just need to work harder than anybody, because the day you stop making excuses, the day you say, "I'm done being average," that's the day your life changes. No one will hand you greatness. You have to bleed for it. You have to earn it. And when you finally stand at the top, tired, scarred, but proud, you'll know one thing for sure: you didn't just win. You became everything you said you would be. They see the results, but they never see the war. They see the victory, but not the 1,000 silent defeats that came before it. Everyone wants success until they understand what it costs. The road to greatness isn't made of glory, it's made of pain, sacrifice, and repetition. It's built on mornings you don't want to wake up, and nights where your body begs you to stop. The struggle is the part no one talks about: the doubt, the fear, the endless noise in your head that says you'll never make it. It's the battle between the dream and the reality, between who you are and who you're trying to become. And it's in that space, that darkness, where most people break. But that's where the real ones are forged. When you decide to work harder than anybody, you're not just signing up for hard work, you're signing up for loneliness. You're signing up to be misunderstood, because when everyone else is sleeping, you're still moving. When everyone else is relaxing, you're still pushing. They'll call you obsessed, they'll call you crazy, but one day they'll call you different. There's no applause in the struggle, no recognition, no comfort. You'll question yourself. You'll wonder why you even started. You'll have days where everything falls apart. You'll lose people, you'll lose faith, you'll lose balance. But that's what growth feels like. Growth doesn't feel like motivation, it feels like breaking. It feels like failure. It feels like pain that doesn't seem to end, but that pain, that's the process. It's the universe asking, how bad do you really want this? Every champion you've ever admired has been here. Every legend you respect has tasted defeat, rejection, and self-doubt so deep it almost destroyed them. But they kept going, not because they felt strong, but because they refused to stop. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the ones who say they want it, and the ones who live it. Working harder than anybody means you'll sacrifice things others won't. You'll miss out while they're celebrating, you're grinding, while they're resting, you're studying, while they're comfortable, you're still building. It's not glamorous, it's not cinematic in the moment. It's hard, ugly, lonely, but it's real. The struggle strips away your lies. It removes ego, excuses, and comfort. It shows you who you truly are. And if you can look at that version of yourself tired, beaten, yet still standing and say, I'm not done yet, you've already won half the battle. Most people quit not because they can't handle pain, but because they expect it to end quickly. They think success comes fast, but real success is slow, heavy, and unforgiving. It takes years of invisible effort. Years of being underestimated, years of pushing through when it makes no sense to continue. That's the price of greatness. That's what it means to work harder than anybody. You won't always have support. You won't always have motivation. Some days it'll just be you versus you, the old version that wants comfort and whispers, it's enough. But you can't listen. Every time you silence that weakness inside you, you build strength no one can take away. You start realizing that pain doesn't break you, it builds you. Struggle doesn't stop you, it shapes you. Every setback is just preparation for something greater. And one day, when you're standing in the light, when people start saying you're lucky, you'll smile because you'll know the truth. You weren't lucky. You were just willing to suffer longer than most. The struggle never really ends. It just evolves. As you grow, the challenges grow with you. The mountain gets higher, the load gets heavier, but that's the beauty of it because that means you're still in the fight. You're still becoming, so when it hurts, don't run. When you're tired, don't stop. When it feels impossible, remember this is the part that defines you. The struggle is not your enemy, it's your teacher. It's the test that asks, do you have the heart to keep going when no one believes in you? And if the answer is yes, if you can keep pushing, keep grinding, keep showing up, then you don't just survive the struggle. You become unstoppable because of it. There comes a moment in every fighter's life when the world goes silent. When the noise, the doubt, the fear, it all fades and you're left alone with one question, how bad do you really want this? It's not a quote, it's not motivation, it's a moment, it's the turning point, the moment you stop wishing and start deciding. The moment you stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming the architect of your destiny. Every warrior hits the wall, every dreamer hits that point where nothing seems to work. You've given everything and it's still not enough. You wake up tired, you move without progress. You fight without reward. That's where most people surrender. That's where they convince themselves it wasn't meant to be. But for the few who keep going, something powerful happens. The pain that used to break them begins to build them. The struggle that used to define them begins to refine them. That's the shift when your mindset changes from why me to try me, when you stop negotiating with your excuses. When you stop waiting for motivation and start moving without it, when you realize no one's coming to save you, that's when you finally save yourself. The turning point isn't about luck, it's about ownership. It's about saying, no more blame, no more waiting, no more hoping. It's about looking at your reflection and saying, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen because of me. And once that decision is made, truly made, the game changes. Because discipline becomes your freedom, pain becomes your compass, every challenge becomes a test, not a punishment. You stop running from the fire and start walking through it. You stop chasing results and start mastering consistency. There's a strange peace that comes with that. You stop needing people to understand you. You stop explaining your grind. You stop justifying your effort because you know they won't get it, they can't. You've entered a place most people never reach, the place where hard work isn't something you do. It's who you are. At that point, the noise doesn't matter. The doubters, the critics, the distractions, they fade. You start hearing something deeper, the sound of your own potential waking up. The sound of self-respect being built brick by brick, rep by rep, moment by moment. The turning point doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It's a late night when you choose to work instead of sleep. It's an early morning when you show up even though no one will know. It's the 100th repetition when your body's screaming to stop, but you don't. Those are the invisible moments that change your life. That's when you begin to understand that working harder than anybody isn't about the result, it's about the process. It's about falling in love with the fight, with the repetition, with the discipline. It's about doing it not because someone's watching, but because you refuse to be ordinary, and slowly something inside you starts to shift. The same pain that once broke you now fuels you. The same struggle that made you doubt now makes you strong. You stop asking when will it get easier and start saying let's go again. That's when you've turned the corner. That's when you've stepped into the other side of pain, the side where greatness lives. Because the truth is, nobody ever becomes unstoppable by accident. It's a choice, a daily one. Every morning you rise, you decide, will I give my best today, or will I hide behind comfort again? And when you keep choosing the hard path over and over, it stops being a choice. It becomes instinct. You no longer chase motivation. You are the motivation. The turning point isn't when life gets easier. It's when you get stronger, when you stop running from the storm and start running into it. Because that's where your growth hides, inside the moments that hurt, inside the days you want to quit. The ones who survive that season, they change forever. And here's the truth no one tells you. The moment you truly commit, the universe moves with you. Opportunities appear, people align, momentum builds, not because life got easier, but because you finally got focused. You stopped being distracted by noise and started being driven by purpose. You stopped needing validation and started creating results. That's the power of the turning point. It's not about what you gain, it's about what you let go of, the laziness, the doubt, the fear of failure, the old version of you that held you back. Once you burn that bridge, there's no going back. And that's exactly how it should be. When you reach that level, something changes in your eyes. People notice. You move differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself with quiet conviction, not arrogance conviction. Because you know how far you've come, and you know you didn't get there by luck. You earned it. You fought for it. You bled for it. That's what the turning point gives you, not comfort, not rest, but clarity. The clarity that nothing and no one can stop a person who refuses to quit. That's when life stops being something that happens to you and starts being something you create. The moment you decide to never turn back, everything begins to shift. The air feels different. The days still hurt, but the pain carries purpose now. You start to see progress where there used to be only frustration. The weight that once crushed you now feels like fuel. Because every rep, every failure, every scar, it's building something inside you that can't be taken away. This is the rise, not the highlight reel, not the applause, not the trophies. The rise happens long before the spotlight ever finds you. It happens in the dark, when you keep showing up with no recognition, no reward, just pure belief. You start realizing greatness doesn't come in waves, it comes in inches. It's built quietly, relentlessly, one hard decision at a time. People start to notice something in you. They can't explain it, but they feel it. There's a presence now, a fire behind your calm. You don't need to talk about what you're doing. Your consistency speaks for you. Every small win adds to your armor. Every time you show up, you strengthen your soul. You've been through the struggle, you've faced the doubt, you've met the pain, and you didn't run. Now the universe begins to bend in your favor, not because it owes you anything, but because you finally earned your place in the fight. You stopped waiting for motivation. You started living like it's already yours. You stopped chasing the dream, you became it. That's the beauty of the rise. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens the day you stop chasing comfort and start chasing growth. It happens the moment you look at what broke you and say, thank you. It happens when you realize all that pain was never there to destroy you, it was there to reveal you. You start to understand something powerful. All the sleepless nights, all the rejection, all the people who doubted you, they were part of the plan. They were the resistance you needed to become unstoppable. Without struggle, there's no strength. Without failure, there's no hunger. Without pain, there's no purpose. And slowly, your name starts to carry weight. Not because it's famous, but because it's respected. People start to see you as someone who doesn't give up, someone who walks with quiet confidence because they've been through hell and made it out stronger. The rise isn't about being better than others, it's about becoming better than who you used to be. You learn that true success isn't loud, it's calm, it's patient. It's the quiet confidence of knowing you gave everything. It's the peace that comes from discipline. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You just move, you execute, you deliver, because you know who you are. The rise is where belief turns into proof. It's when your actions finally start catching up to your vision. You stop hoping for someday and start creating today. You stop talking about what you'll do and just do it. You become the kind of person who doesn't need to announce change, because your presence announces it for you. The world starts responding differently. Doors open. People listen, not because you asked, but because you earned it. You're no longer chasing validation, you're chasing mastery. You're no longer proving people wrong, you're proving yourself right. You realize that working harder than anybody was never just about success. It was about building a spirit that can't be broken. Because now, when life throws challenges, you don't flinch. You've seen worse. You've survived worse. You smile and keep moving because pain has become familiar and fear no longer controls you. That's what the rise gives you. Control, not over the world, but over yourself. Control over your emotions, your reactions, your direction. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter, and you pour it into what does. You understand that focus is your weapon. Consistency is your armor. Effort is your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone chasing success. You start seeing yourself as someone built for it. And once that belief settles deep inside, nothing can move you. The storms come, but you don't fold. The failures come, but you don't lose faith. Because you've been there before, and every single time you've risen. Now people will look at you and think it was easy. They'll see your results, but never the war behind them. They'll never know how many times you almost gave up, or how many nights you questioned everything. But that's fine, they're not supposed to, because the rise is personal, it's sacred. It belongs only to those who earned it, and here's the truth, you're not done rising, you never will be. Because once you understand that growth never ends, you stop chasing the finish line. You fall in love with the process, the discipline, the grind, the climb. Every step you take, every goal you reach, it only makes you hungrier, not for recognition but for mastery. That's what separates the legends from the rest. They don't rise once, they rise forever. They rise every day in silence, through pain, through loss, through victory, through time. Because to them, working harder than anybody isn't a goal, it's a way of life. At the end of every battle, when the sweat dries and the noise fades, you're left with one question: did I give it everything? Not just when people were watching, not just when it was easy, but when no one cared. When nobody believed, when the world felt cold and quiet. That's when it matters most, because that's where truth lives, in the unseen hours, in the silent work, in the moments you could have stopped but didn't. You'll never know how far you can go until you refuse to stop trying. When you look back one day, you won't remember the trophies, you won't remember the applause, you'll remember the struggle, the long nights, the self-doubt, the pain that nearly broke you. Because that's where you found yourself. That's where you discovered what you're truly made of. Working harder than anybody was never just about success. It was about self-respect, about discipline, about becoming someone you can be proud of when no one else is around. The world can take your money, your comfort, even your recognition, but it can never take your work ethic. It can never take your character. When you walk with that truth, life starts to slow down. You see through distractions. You recognize that not everyone is meant to understand your path, because your path was built for one person, you. The grind was always personal. The journey was always internal. The fight was never against others, it was against your own limits. There's peace in that, peace in knowing that even if the world forgets your name, your effort still echoes. Every ounce of sweat you gave, every sacrifice you made, it becomes part of something greater. It becomes legacy, and legacy isn't built on words, it's built on work. That's why you must never stop, because someone out there, someone younger, someone lost, someone searching is watching you. They might not say it, but they're learning from your example. They're watching how you move, how you fight, how you endure, and one day they'll remember that when life hit you hardest, you didn't break. You stood tall. You worked harder than anybody. That's the power of one disciplined life. It changes more than your story, it changes others. It becomes a light in the darkness. A reminder that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they refuse to quit. So when you wake up tomorrow, remember this: you don't have to be the best. You just have to be relentless. You just have to keep going. No matter how small the progress, no matter how slow the climb forward is forward. Every drop of effort matters. Every second of work counts. Because there will come a day when the opportunities finally meet the preparation. When all those unseen hours finally reveal their purpose. When everything you've built in silence finally speaks for you loudly. And in that moment you'll understand all the pain, all the sacrifice, all the lonely nights. It was worth it, not because of what you got, but because of who you became. You'll realize that greatness was never somewhere out there. It was inside you, waiting for you to stop doubting and start doing, waiting for you to stop talking and start becoming. That's what it means to work harder than anybody. To show up even when you're tired, to fight even when you're scared, to keep going even when it feels like no one cares. Because that's when the real transformation happens, when you keep going, not for recognition, not for approval, but for the promise you made to yourself. You told yourself you'd make it. You told yourself you'd keep going. You told yourself you'd never quit. So don't stop now. Don't slow down. Don't let comfort steal what pain helped you earn. You've come too far to go back. You've endured too much to give in. Keep your head down. Keep your heart steady. Keep your fire alive, because this world, this life belongs to those who refuse to surrender, to those who understand that work beats talent when talent stops working. To those who live by one truth: effort never lies. And when your time finally comes, when you take that final breath and look back on everything, you'll know you didn't waste your potential. You didn't settle. You didn't fold. You gave everything. You worked harder than anybody. That's what greatness sounds like. Not noise, not fame, just quiet pride, quiet strength, quiet victory. And now it's your turn. Go earn it.